Hey guys, and welcome back to Mad About Skin. If you're new to our channel, welcome. Here at Mad About Skin, we're passionate about helping you to get the most out of your skincare. So if you haven't already, now's a fantastic time to click that link below, subscribe to the channel, ring that notification bell, and you won't miss out on any of our amazing future content. Now, in today's video, we're talking all things skin texture. You guys have been asking me for so long now about doing a video on skin texture, how to improve it, what products you need to incorporate, and basically doing a full skincare routine. That's quite difficult because different texture is caused by different things. Texture means different things to different people. So I've taken my time and I pulled it all together in this one video. I'm going to be sharing my experience with texture and how the products which have worked for me, because I want to keep this as cheap and as accessible as possible. Most of the products used today I've decided to choose from the Ordinary, because I love the brand and I think there's some fantastic options from the Ordinary to really get, the integrity is fantastic and the formulations are fantastic, but also I just want to keep that price point as low as possible for you guys so that you can really get the most from your skin and tackle that texture, whatever your budget happens to be. There are a few expensive luxury items in here, but again, that's at your discretion as to whether you want to purchase them, and I'll give some drugstore options where I do have slightly more expensive products. This is going to be a bit more of a chatty video, so if you like this, leave a comment below, let me know what you think, and hopefully you'll find this useful. Now, texture. Where to start? Well, it can come in a number of forms. I think quite a lot of people think that, particularly when you're younger, think that texture is those little bobbles, those little bumps on the skin, barely noticeable day to day, but the second you put a highlight on, it looks like Mount Vesuvius has exploded on your face. You've got these huge and very obvious pimples, and they look like they're just closed comedones sitting under the skin, and that can really damage people's self-confidence. It can look worse when you cover it up with makeup, and it actually makes it look worse, so there's not much you can do with it. As we get older, people tend to associate texture less with those bumps and the raised areas and more with like the pitting, what some people call the ice pick scars, where they go in, where you've had a zit, it's not healed, it's left a scar. Just the loss of elasticity, and the skin can feel a bit like it's sagging and it's just not got that plump volume that we craved and what we had when we were younger. So texture can mean different things to different people. I always say all healthy skin is good skin. So yes, you might have texture, yes, it might damage your confidence, but let's start from the perspective that as long as your skin is intact and it is healthy, that is the main thing. And then we'll use this video to just enhance what we already have and tackle some of those texture issues. I'm going to try and make it as applicable for all skin types as possible by offering alternatives where there might be better options for people with dry skin, say, so hopefully that'll come across as we come along. So let's get straight into it. And we're going to start where all good skincare should start, which is with the cleansing step. Now, if you are using fancy, bougie, packed full of active ingredients cleansers, put them to one side. If you're trying to tackle texture specifically, keep your cleanser simple. The benefits are going to come from targeted serums, creams, and things which come later in your skincare routine. You don't want to risk doubling up and risking irritation by having active ingredients in your cleanser and then again later in your step. So it's just easier and safer to keep to a normal bog standard cleanser. If you're going with the Ordinary, I would fully recommend the Squarlane cleanser. I love this cleanser. It's so fantastic. It goes on like an oil. You add water, it emulsifies like a milk, washes off completely, and just resets the face. I don't always advocate doing a double cleanse, but I think if you are trying to tackle texture, double cleansing is going to be a really good way of just starting the process and just making sure that the rest of your skincare works as effectively as possible. So for your first step, I would definitely recommend you get your hands on the Squarlane cleanser by the Ordinary. Gorgeous product, really affordable. I think it's £4 here in the UK, under $10 in the US. Absolutely beautiful. Then for your second step, you can really choose what you want to do. Choose a cleanser which is appropriate to your skin type. If you're oily, you might want to go for something that maybe is a little bit more drying. If you're quite dry, you might want to go for something that's a bit more hydrating. But either way, you want your second step to be a gel cleanser, which will just wash off the last residue of the Squarelane cleanser, which you've used first. I'm not going to recommend a specific second step cleanser because I use loads. My go-to at the moment is the Sanskrit Saponins by NIOD. That's $30. That's not drugstore, but it's a beautiful, beautiful hydrating second step in your double cleanser that does what it does. It doesn't dry the skin, it removes all the last vestiges of grime and pollution and stuff from your skin and just preps the skin perfectly. That's my current go-to, but there are plenty out there. Gel ones are fantastic if you have slightly oilier skin. There's creamier ones if you have dry skin. Just pick your favorite and use it at this stage. Now, why I think it's important to double cleanse if you're trying to tackle texture rather than if you have any other skin concerns. I don't think a double cleanse is essential. It's nice to have. You can even use it as your second step and micellar water if you want. It's personal preference. But the reason why I recommend you do this is because the first step, which is the crucial step, this is the one that's going to break everything down, but it's also going to soften the skin. And this is really important. You want the rest of the products that you use, particularly like the exfoliators, the things that we're going to be applying, to work really well with your skin. And that works better on softened skin. So really take your time with that first step to massage it in, upward motions and massaging. Pay attention to areas where you have texture. For me, it was always across the cheek area. I got those little tiny bumps. Massage it in, and that is just going to make sure that top layer, stratum of the skin, is as soft as possible, which is going to mean it receives the next stages in your skincare so much better. They're going to be able to penetrate deeper, ultimately work better. So who doesn't like that? So you've got your cleansing down. Now you need to move on to what I think is the single most important step when tackling texture. It doesn't matter whether it's texture caused by acne or texture caused by pitting and scarring, it doesn't matter. Exfoliation is your key. So if you're not exfoliating, ask yourself why. And for me, it's really important to exfoliate every single day. I saw a huge difference in my skin when I moved from a weekly or twice weekly exfoliation to a daily exfoliation. Obviously, I dialed down the strength of the product I was using, but using it every day means that your skin is able to get used to it. You don't miss days, because I was really sloppy with my exfoliation. I couldn't remember which days I'd done it when I needed to do it. Doing it every day makes it habit. It becomes part of your skincare routine, and I think your skin benefits. Mine certainly did so much from it. You've got loads of different options for an exfoliator. I would stay clear of manual exfoliators. I think they have a place, and I don't think they're the devil that some people think they are. But when you have texture on your skin, often psychologically, and I know this because I lived with it, psychologically you don't have the best relationship with your skin. And so the temptation when you have a manual scrub is to really, really scrub. And I mean, I scrubbed my skin. And that's actually so bad because it creates micro tears, which then lead to hyperpigmentation. It can actually create more texture on the skin, which you just don't want. It's a nightmare. So stay away from the manual scrubs because you have no control over how much pressure you're putting on, particularly if that psychologically you want to scrub and you think that scrubbing is going to work. You often go in too hard. So put them to one side and focus on what I think is the best form of exfoliation anyway, which is a chemical exfoliation. I actually did a video breaking down chemical exfoliation and which is the right one for you, so I'll leave that up there. Check that out if you need to pick one that's going to work for you, because there's some fantastic recommendations in there. From the Ordinary, I would use the glycolic acid 7% toning solution just as the go-to if you have normal or oily skin. If you are struggling a little bit with dryness, then a lactic acid. They do a lactic acid at 5% or a 10%. Choose the one. If you're not sensitive, you can go for the 10%. If you have sensitive skin too, stick to the 5%. And then if you have really sensitive skin, maybe you're suffering a little bit with rosacea, you have active breakouts, it's just you're worried very much about the sensitivity and using a chemical exfoliator with your sensitivity, then azelaic acid is fantastic. And again, the Ordinary have a 10% azelaic acid, which is the perfect strength azelaic acid, which is going to help tackle that and keep just the inflammation to an absolute minimum and be as sensitive, kind to your sensitive skin as possible. Choose the right one and use it every single day. You might need to work up to these. So with the glycolic acid 7% toning solution, my skin was fine for me to go in on day one, use it, and then I used it every single day thereafter. Some people do find they need to build up the tolerance to it, and if you can't quite get to once a day, don't worry too much. It's just as much as your skin can tolerate. Don't push past what your skin is screaming and telling you to stop at. Work as much as that, but the goal should be to get to once a day. You should be using these products because they're lower strength. You can get away with using them every single day. With something like the azelaic acid, if you're sensitive, again, start once a week and work your way up to what your skin allows you to do. But check out that video I did on exfoliation and get the right one for your skin type. So what exfoliation is going to do is it's going to gently remove the upper layers of the skin. So by doing so, the pitting which you have in your skin, if you're worried about textured scarring, that's going to seem over time to be diminished. Similarly, it's going to help to release some of those closed comedones, which are the ones that are causing those bumps on the skin, those unsightly bumps that when you put your highlighter on, it looks twice as bad. Those are what we're talking about when we talk about closed comedones and milia. It helps to just break that down. It's a gradual process, but if you use it every single day, over time, your skin will look more radiant and any texture that you have will be severely diminished, which is absolutely what we're going for here. I would also recommend using a weekly exfoliator. On the day that you use your weekly exfoliator, obviously don't use your daily exfoliator as well. You don't want to double up, but this is just a way of kick-starting that, tackling that texture, just making sure that your skin is receiving the highest concentration possible without too many side effects. The Ordinary's fantastic go-to is the peeling solution. That's a 30% alpha hydroxy acid, 2% beta hydroxy acid, which is beautiful. That is just going to help resurface the skin much quicker and just help you get those results a little bit quicker than you otherwise would if you just stuck to the daily exfoliation. I'm all about quick wins, and I think the peeling solution by the Ordinary is a really quick win to tackle that texture. If you're a little bit worried or concerned about using it, because you do hear some horror stories and some people say it's so strong, it's this, that and the other, I did a video on it, so do check that out if you're a little bit concerned about that specific product. I used it and honestly it transformed my skin. I found with the texture issues I was having on my skin, this is probably the single product which helped transform my skin quickly. I've seen some videos on YouTube of people using it every single day to tackle texture. No, this is a weekly treatment. You leave it on for 10 minutes once a week and that is it. You wash it off and then you go back to your daily exfoliation. Don't push it, because what you can do is actually end up causing more texture, more damage, hyperpigmentation. You don't want any of that. Stick to the rules once a week and don't use your daily exfoliator on the same day. This is just really going to supercharge that attack against that texture and give you that smoother skin a lot quicker than you otherwise would get it. Now, we started to tackle the texture and the textural irregularities in the skin with our exfoliation, but it's not good enough to just attack what's already there. You need to protect and prevent future texture from emerging. So the next stage I would do after I've exfoliated would be to apply your antioxidant. Antioxidants are going to just help to prevent free radical damage from the environmental pollutants that are around us, from the sun, from anything you're exposed to day in, day out. It's just going to help absorb some of those free radicals before they can do damage. A lot of the texture can be caused by oil, hormonal changes, but also free radical damage and general and oxidative stresses. What you want to avoid is tackling the existing texture, which we're going to be doing through the steps we've already done and some steps we're going to come on to, but then actually just replacing that with the same texture back again, because one of the things the body does is some of the reactions to oxidative stresses and to chemicals, pollution, and UV rays is to create processes which then can lead to texture. So what you need to do is use your antioxidant to protect against those, so the body doesn't trigger the production of even more texture and possibly make the situation worse down the line. There are loads of antioxidants out there, so I'm not going to go into a huge list of every single one. The ones that I would go to is a really plain and simple, easy to apply, and will allow you to apply products on top of it, is the EUK 134 by The Ordinary, under $10, gorgeous, really multi-level antioxidant that's going to protect the skin, provide a minor amount of hydration, which is really good, and just won't create any irritation. If you want a little bit of brightness with your antioxidant, then vitamin C is the way to go. The Ordinary have some fantastic ones. I'm going to leave a link up there to my favourite vitamin C's that are at the moment, so you can pick and choose from that one if you want. Some great drugstore options in there, or you can go to the Ordinary and pick one of those, whichever you want. But either way, you either need a vitamin C or a standalone antioxidant. You could use a Q10 serum that would provide antioxidant protection. You can use the EUK 134 or a vitamin C. I'll leave it up to you. The choice is yours, but at this point you need to start that protection. It's not just enough to treat, you need to protect. I've noticed such a difference in my skin since I started using an antioxidant every single day. I used to preach it, never used it. I kind of thought some of them were quite greasy. It was hard to find one that worked for me, and I thought it's not that important. At the end of the day, I'm young, my skin's healthy, it's not that important. And then I started using one and I realised actually a lot of the dark spots I had have diminished over time. I feel my skin texture is a bit more elastic, and that's all because your skin isn't fighting the damage which you're failing to protect it against. So definitely heed the warning when people say apply an antioxidant at this point in your skincare routine. Now, once we've applied our antioxidant, that's really going to protect the skin, and we've exfoliated, which is going to remove some of that surface texture. Now what you need to do is really concentrate on improving the overall texture of the skin through collagen production. Collagen is the thing which gives our skin its elasticity, it allows it to snap back, it gives us that dewy, plump skin that we crave. You can fake it by applying some temporary solutions, but ultimately you need collagen in your life to be able to give you that plump and filled out skin. Often as we age, our skin can look a bit more hollow, and that's because our collagen levels go like that. Ultimately, the collagen degrades, so your body removes it and isn't replacing it at the same rate. So we need peptides in our life. I'm talking peptides, peptides, peptides. I can't say that enough, to be able to increase the amount of collagen in your skin. Peptides work in multiple ways. They trigger they act as triggers for the production of collagen. They also act as transmitters, so they will transfer some of the essential minerals and micronutrients needed to produce collagen, and they'll also provide hydration. So it's just a beautiful ingredient to have in. So you need a peptide serum. A lot of people think they try it and then they forget it, because this is a long-term thing. A peptide serum, before it'll really start working, will take about 6 months. So I hear a lot of people saying, I used it, I saw nothing, 1 bottle later, I'm not bothering. It's because you need to invest in it for the future. If you think how long you've had your texture for and how long it's been irritating you and damaging your self-confidence, it's gonna be a hell of a lot longer than 6 months, and so it's worth the investment. So get yourself a peptide serum. The Ordinary do a buffet, they do Matrixyl 3000, and they do the buffet with copper peptides. The best is the buffet with copper peptides. If your budget can stretch that, it's a little bit more expensive than the others, but the buffet or the Matrixyl 3000 are absolutely fantastic. You could also use the collagen booster serum by the Inculist, which is another firm favourite of mine, and actually the one that I probably go to every single day. I absolutely love that product. Over time, it will help with the production of collagen, so the level of collagen increases in the skin, and that's what's going to give that firmness, the elasticity. It'll also help with other things like shrinking the size of your pores, because it'll reinforce the walls of the pores so they'll appear less noticeable. It's just an all-round fantastic thing to have in your skincare routine, and if you don't have a peptide serum now, get one. Before anything else, buy yourself a peptide serum, because it's going to hydrate, it's going to produce collagen, and it's just going to help reinforce that skin barrier. I love peptides. They are life, and I don't know why people don't talk about them more. So check out one of the serums that I've just mentioned and get this in your skincare routine straight after your antioxidant. Now, we've exfoliated, we've cleansed, so we're clean. We've exfoliated, so we've taken away some of the surface skin, which is going to help to diminish the look of the texture. We've protected against future textural irregularities, if that's a word. And we've also helped to produce a collagen, which is going to give our skin that fullness and help plump out some of those pitted scars, which you might be suffering with, and which is one of the common causes of texture on the skin. So we've tackled all of that. Is there much left to do? Well, there's a couple more steps. And for me, retinol. In the evening, a retinol is important. Now, you're going to be using your exfoliator in the morning. You can use it morning or evening, but for me, I think the morning just suits the skincare routine better. In the evening, you'll miss out the step where I said to exfoliate, but at this point, after your peptide serum, you will add in a retinol. Retinol is crucial to tackling texture. And I don't want to hear anybody say you can't use retinol, it's too strong for me. There is a retinol out there for everybody. You just need to find the right one for you. I did a video on it, which I'll link there. So that will go into a bit more detail about specific retinols for skin type, but the Ordinary do 8 different retinols which you can choose from. The Inculist do a gram-active retinol, which is slightly lower strength and won't be quite as aggressive or create as much redness, irritation or downtime. So I love that one. That's a really good option to get your hands on that. If you want to go super strong and you are in this to get that skin snatched in the shortest possible time, they do a clinical strength retinol from Paula's Choice, which really works. You'll get a little bit of irritation, downtime, redness, peeling, but it'll work. What the retinol is doing is it's increasing the rate of cellular turnover. So it's telling your body to increase its cellular turnover, which is going to mean that all of those bubbles, bumps come to the skin quicker. Some of those pitting scarring is going to appear shallower, so diminished, and it won't appear quite as bad as what it does at the moment. And it is just a beautiful all-round product. It's also going to help even out skin tone. So if you've got a little bit of discoloration that comes with this texture, retinol is going to help with that. And ultimately, it will help to diminish fine lines and wrinkles. Overall, it's a game changer. One of the only ingredients out there clinically proven to reduce and reverse the signs of photoaging that have already been accumulated. That is fantastic, and you need it in your life, and you'll add it at this stage in your skincare routine. After that, all that's really left to do is slap on your moisturiser and go. And by moisturiser, I mean moisturiser and SPF. I'd use the two together. If you can find an SPF that's got the right consistency for your skin tone, your skin type, sorry, that is all you need. I don't always think you need to have a moisturiser at this point. That's personal preference. Let your SPF do the work. If you are dry, get an occlusive SPF that's going to hydrate. If you're oily, get one that's going to mattify and prevent that oil building up over the day. But either way, you need an SPF because you're using an exfoliator, which is going to make you more sun sensitive. You're using a retinol, which is definitely going to make you more sun sensitive. And ultimately, it works with your antioxidant just to protect the skin against those free radicals, which can then lead to texture down the line. So once you've nailed this, you have the perfect skincare routine to tackle that texture. My texture was the little bumps on the skin, which actually took a while to go. And I'm not going to promise you that this is going to work in like 2 weeks. It's not. If you follow these steps, step by step, you will see a significant reduction in the texture on your skin and an improvement in the smoothness of the skin within 3 months. That will then continue to the 6-month point. And by the time you get to 6 months, that's really where you've locked in all of that work. And that's what your skin is going to look like forever. Gorgeous, smooth, glowing to the gods, and fabulous. Get your self-confidence back, tackle that texture, and use these products which are really going to work. It pains me when I see people using products that don't work for them, or they're paying too much for products that they think are going to work and that don't. These are all products which I've tried, tested, and can personally recommend, and they've worked for my skin type, my skin tone. It is obviously, skincare is personal, so you might want to mix it with some of your other favourite products. But be free, enjoy your skincare, but this routine will genuinely help to transform your skin and get away with that, get that smooth, gorgeous, even complexion that we all crave. One final thing I do want to say before we wrap up is oils can be super beneficial if you have those little bumps on the skin. So a lot of people say if they've got the closed comedones, the milia, the little bumps that are really irritating. A lot of people think that's caused by acne, it's caused by oil, breakouts. I'm going to never touch oil again. Why would I use an oil in my skincare routine? Because I'm oily enough. That was my thought and philosophy. Then the more you read up on it, actually, oil can be really beneficial in balancing out the sebum production in the skin. Often our skin produces too much oil because it feels dry. So if you apply an oil, it can really work. It can soften, it can help to break down some of that texture. So get yourself a good oil and just apply it to the areas where you have quite a lot of the bumps on the skin. And that will really help to kickstart this routine and will help to kind of just even everything out and break those things down a little bit quicker. I would recommend the Herbivore balancing oil, which I love. It is $70, so it's expensive. So there are other dupes out there, so check those out. But for me, the Herbivore has glutathione, which is an antibacterial, which is really good because it'll help just quell those breakouts at the same time, and use it on the areas where you get those bumps. And honestly, it will just cut the amount of time it takes for this routine to work by about a couple of weeks. I think that's worth it. So just a top tip that I'm going to throw out there. Hopefully you've enjoyed this. Let me know, do you like a more chatty style of video like this one? Do you like the more formal? Leave me a comment below and let me know what you like. Hopefully you give this video a thumbs up because I love sharing my story. I have been on a skincare journey the same way that most people watching this have. I wasn't born with good skin. It took a lot of time. I had a lot, and still, you know, there's still things I want to change in my skin, but hopefully I can share my experiences and make your skin that little bit better. Wherever in the world you are, guys, I'm sending you lots of love from here in the UK. Take care. Bye.